You referenced Ernie Johnson, Inside the NBA. I think most people would agree that probably the greatest studio show of all
Oh,
time, right?
easily, yeah.
That's not a hot take.
No.
Why have they had so much success and ESPN literally almost every year changes that crew? Why can't they even get anything near the kind of success and chemistry that
Yeah.
those guys have had?
Well, look, chemistry is very rare that you put together a panel show and in the first year you just don't get it. That's not how chemistry works. You might get chemistry, but they have let these guys marinate for years and years and years and years. Those four guys, like, they couldn't possibly probably know each other any better. I mean, they give them freedom. I mean, and when I say freedom, they give them freedom. Like,
Mm.
that's the hard thing about it. They have a lot more time. Like, the countdown show is so packed. It's like, I think by the time it's all said and done with commercial breaks and everything, you get like 11 minutes of content time, which is hard. That's not a lot of time, especially when you've got 3 or 4 people trying to divide that up. And so it's trusting the people that you hired to make the show in the first place. It's trusting that they know what they're doing, that you don't have to bow to every time the phone rings to change everything. Like, you just have to let the people you hire to do those things. And I don't know why that's not been the case for many, many times over. I have no idea, because it's not that hard. It's NBA. It's people talking about NBA, people who probably love watching NBA, and that should be easy. And so, yeah, that TNT is, I mean, it's effortless, and you watch them. And if you're watching at home, you probably think they just show up 5 minutes before and they go out there, and Ernie's just the best traffic cop that ever was. And, and it looks easy, and it's not, as we all can tell. And it's a bummer, because it should be, I think.
I would have loved to have spoken to you, heard your thoughts in the midst of last year when all the drama with Countdown was going on. Uh,
That was fun.
I know you tweeted something quite cryptic about it. I think you were referring to that.
Karma's a bitch. It
Well,
is what
honestly,
it is.
what were your thoughts? Come
Oh,
on,
I
tell
loved
us.
it. Well,
You,
that's nothing. That person, that's what she does. And so that was nothing. She did stuff to me. Like, she's the one that did all the stuff. Like, she's the one that plays that game. And to watch the both of them sort of engage in the media wars. I don't think either one came out looking great. It was just not good look for either one of them, but it wasn't shocking to any of us in that business. Like, when you heard the names and who did what, you were just like, yeah, that's about right.
mm.
And for me personally, yeah,
Were you
that's
sitting
it's
back
just,
like loving it, or like
I
what are
didn't
the?
even know at
You didn't know?
first.
What do you mean?
No,
Where were you?
I was, I was living, but I was trying to remember who texted me first about it. Maybe I just wasn't like on the internet or something as
Right.
much, but yeah. And then I went on there. I was like, that's funny. And so, yeah, that was, yeah, I mean, you have to remember, like, somebody leaked it and somebody taped it
Yeah.
and somebody, people don't do that when they like you. So maybe we take an inner look at ourselves.
Could I ask, how do you feel like the company handled it?
That was a tough one, but like, I am a person who knows that they had chances to handle that way before that moment. They had chances to tell certain people not to behave certain ways, and they didn't take that chance. It's like a child. You tell that child, when you're 8, that you stop acting like this, then hopefully by the time they're 12, you don't really have that issue anymore. But when you allow that child to continue to do and do and do, whether because you don't want the confrontation, you don't want the headache, then don't be surprised. There's no reason why a person stops the bad behavior if no one's telling them to. There's no punishment, there's no repercussions. And so, yeah, that was there. They kind of made their bet on that one. And then that's why I think everybody came out looking awful.
Hmm. How do you feel about the current iteration of Countdown?
I don't, I haven't really seen, I know it's greedy
Hmm.
splitting it or not splitting it.
Yeah, I think he's splitting it with Michael Eves, and there's
Oh,
Stephen A.
okay.
Smith
I love Eves.
involved, and
Well, of course, it's ESPN project.
Michael Wilbon
Love
involved,
Wilbon. Yeah, I
and
mean,
Jalen.
oh, duh. Yeah, I did
Yeah,
know Jalen. Yeah, it's I guess it's there. I don't really
yeah,
watch half times of anything. I try to
right.
do other stuff, but yeah, those are for the most part nice people. I have no issue with them personally. It's just, yeah, I don't know. And I love Eves. Like, if Eves is doing stuff, I'll watch Eves doing stuff because I think he's awesome. But yeah, it's just, again, it's just another change. And then I don't know what happens.
Could I ask, what was your relationship like with Stephen A?
I don't have one with him. I don't want to ever. Yeah.
Why?
Um, we just are very different people. We're different how we treat people. We're different how we view things. And that's cool. Like I said, I don't have to like everyone, and I certainly don't expect everyone to like me. And I think that's probably a good example of someone who he and I are just, we're like over here.
Hmm. In your life now, it must be nice. Like you sometimes in TV, you have to work with people who you don't
Yeah.
necessarily like. It
Yeah.
must be nice now. I feel like you like everyone that you work with now. Isn't that like a
Yeah.
beautiful thing? It's probably been
It
a long
is.
time in your adult professional life that you've actually liked everyone that you work with.
Well, no, that's the thing. I liked it because if you think of who I've worked with, I worked with starting with Colin Cowherd and LZ and Marcellus and Max, and then Jalen and Chauncey and Paul. And, I never worked with Stephen A on camera. That was, I wouldn't.
Oh wow.
I don't have a good enough poker face, to be honest with you. And the funny story about that is the last day that I did Get Up, as I'm sitting at the desk with Greeny, and Greeny has to read the read for the next coming up show that I'm not going to be on. Immediately that following morning, it was, and tomorrow Stephen A. Smith joins us.
Mm.
And I was just like, I actually think somebody sent me a screen grab of my face because I was like laughing like in a weird way. So yeah, no, I do. But look, I came back here and I'm working with Spurs, and it's, for the most part, almost everyone there is people that I've known for decades. Like it's either they were still there or they were there when I was an intern, or they've been there for the last 10 to 12 years. And I've known them through that. It's just a nice family vibe. I feel like somebody's daughter who returned home, because they're very nice and welcoming, and they don't have to be. And it's been great. Like I don't feel like I'm on edge or have to worry about anything stupid. It's just go to work, enjoy yourself, go home, live your life. Done.
I want to ask you about the Spurs thing in a second, but one last thing on ESPN. You revealed recently, which created all these headlines, the LeBron James thing that he wanted to get you fired. And you don't need to necessarily get into all that. However, I sympathize with you greatly because I too was at ESPN. I don't know if you know this. We didn't really coincide, although you did break the news that I was going to ESPN. I don't know if you know this.
Wait, how did it? Oh, wait, from
I,
MMA?
I was on Get Up,
Yeah.
and I just was on as a guest. I hadn't even been, and
Yes.
you said welcome to the family or something, and then I think the
Yes.
big lead picked up on that and started snooping around, and actually you
Damn it.
expedited the process, so no, I appreciate it. It was very nice of you. I mean,
Really
it was
bad
kind
at
of full
PR.
circle from the Twitter
That's
exchange that
crazy.
you were
That's
the one
funny,
to break the
actually.
news. In any event, from before my first day there, but after signing, there was a fairly influential figure in my world that tried to get me fired as well from ESPN.
Yeah.
His name, Dana White.
Yeah.
So, you had LeBron, I had Dana. What was it
Look at
like?
us.
Yeah, you see, we're like two peas in the pod. We both kind of survived. We're doing okay.
We're all
But
right.
it's not. I knew he was trying to get me fired. Did you
Yeah.
know, or is this something you learned only afterwards?
I learned after. I learned
Ah,
after
that's a lot
this
better.
meeting or whatever happened. I didn't even, I thought it was stupid. I was like, that's why. Why would anyone care who's doing what? But yeah, I learned after the fact. Do you get this thing now where people are like, whatever, dude, you're just saying that for attention, that never happened? And you just want to be like, who makes that up? Like, that's a stupid thing to make up. The last thing I want to spend the rest of my life doing is talking about LeBron James. So
Sure.
really, it is what it is. I sat with it for 2 years. I didn't say a word about it. I answered a few questions in the last month or so, and it is what it is. Like, it's
How
just a
close was
part
he
of it.
being successful?
I don't know, because look, at the end of the day, I didn't even care. It wasn't that the request was made. It was that no one said, "Hey, look, we're having this. We like doing work with you, blah blah blah." But that's not your area. Like
Hmm.
we'll take care of that. That's what bothered me. I
Hmm.
don't care what he said. It's that no one in that room had the balls to be like, "That's our hire. That's our person. For now, she's our pick," and none of your business. And it didn't get said, and that's a bummer.
And I couldn't agree. That's the main thing, loyalty, right? Like people not
Exactly.
having your back is the stuff that means the most, that hurts
Everything.
the most. Yeah.
Yeah.
And have you heard from his team since you put
No,
this out there?
I never will. I'm sure they think, oh, she's crazy that ever happened.
Right,
But
right, right.
yeah, I'm not a person who makes a habit of lying. I don't bother saying it if it's not true.
Thank you for watching this portion of the Ariel Helwani show. For the entire conversation, and I do suggest you check it out, click here.